Sometimes I feed them, some they get bigger than others, depends on the day. Sometimes I sit on the edge of my bed, now wait just to see them be their ugliest. Sometimes I just cannot face them. I let them get under my skin. One of them has the most hideous face, and he says that I look just like him. One of them, she's so intelligent, she acknowledges what I have to say. She'll tell you she knows it all.
This is the one.
We read your question before we're excited.
The main film we're studying this semester is Wes Anderson's Rushmore. In it, the main character likes to be in control of every aspect of his life, and even the lives of others. But it's as a result of feeling a loss of control when he was younger. In his case, his mother died. What I'm wondering is if the control you exert over the experience of Lucius, the style and the substance on stage and in songs and even in the interviews, is a consequence of a feeling of lack of control creatively earlier, like maybe from being labeled or defined by others.
I think we have been really fortunate to sort of avoid those things. We put ourselves in a community, and we put ourselves within a family of people that we work with, managers or whatever, that really enable us and allow us to sort of enhance what's there and truly be ourselves. I think that we have a lot of parts to our puzzle, you know, and I think in order to function the way that we want to function, like you were saying earlier, to be transported, to be taken to this place and to hopefully take others there with us, we've created a sort of stage, a sort of scene, and you know, obviously the costumes are one thing, and the backdrop, and then just the whole stage setup. It's like a machine, and every part is so integral to the next. And I think for us, that enhances the experience. It is a decision, you know, like that we've made to sort of stick with, if that makes any sense. Like, it's not. It was a choice, a creative choice, though.
Also, about like lack of, or just how much control you have, or we've all had in the past. If you're going to choose a creative path, like that's the basis of all of that is kind of like chaotic to begin with. Like there is no control, there is no guarantee. So maybe what we're trying to do with the way that we portray ourselves, and you know, with the music and the visual and everything, is kind of that a result of knowing that it's always chaotic to begin with, you know, so we can maybe try to rein it in a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
But I think there is certainly some truth to that statement, in the sense that when you put something in a box, or you find a way to kind of figure out what exactly it is you're doing, it sort of starts to make the rest of things unfold a little bit more easy. When this band first started out, it wasn't what it is now. And I think that through the discovery process and the evolution of the sound and the visual and all that, it led us to where we are now. And now a lot more decisions are influenced by that control and by that decision to be like, oh, this is what we are. And you know, when something gets brought to the table, there's a lot less spaghetti being thrown at the wall. You know what I mean? Now it's like, okay, we can weed that out before we even try this out. We know that that won't work in this scenario because we've done something like that, or it just makes sense, more sense now than it did before. I don't know.
Though I feel like we're always processing things and trying to sort of reinvent what we already have to make it stronger and to make it more interesting for us and for other people. So I totally agree with you, but I think it goes both ways. Like,
but I think like the general statement of like an artist doing their art to kind of control the chaos. It's like you were saying, like the fantasy and the reality, the mixture of the two. It's like trying to basically digest the reality and in this way. So when you're saying like how we're always moving, which you should be as an artist, I think that is part of the digestion process as well. So I think they both work.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of artists that we love that have like there's a certain, almost like a funnel that things go through, and it might change from like album to album or tour or other stuff. And I think that when you're hit by like a lot of inspiration, especially when you're with all these people all the time and everyone's feeling always inspired, that can lead to a little anxiety sometimes, because you're like, I've only been doing the same thing every night. I've been in the car for like 10 hours a day, and you start feeling backed up creatively. And when there's, like what Danny was saying, there's sort of a constructive way to deal with creative time, performance time, like work time. It makes the chaos, the kind of feeling of being dedicated to your art, which is scary almost all the time, but very rewarding almost all the time. It helps everybody, like, it allows everybody to put that creative energy in, and then know when, you know, this is time for work, this is time for that. But we've always, the people I think we've all admired, and the things we've modeled ourselves after, like, I mean, being here in this class, like, in a film class, I think seeing, when I was in school, my science teacher was like, you need to listen to Talking Heads. You need to see Stop Making Sense. And as a film, like the collaboration between the director and the band, and probably a big part was David Byrne, was that everything was like funneled into this thing. The same thing was with David Bowie. Even if you look at any big pop bands or any small bands, like, there's always a way to do that. And I think what you're saying, what you're asking, is that is a choice of the artist, and it really allows, it might seem like they're working within certain boundaries, but it really allows them to assume an identity, and that not only makes it easier to create and have separation between reality and maybe, if this is not reality a little bit, what we do, it also allows the audience to feel safe, but also like adventurous too. You know, you go to a show and David Bowie or someone's on stage, and at any point, you know, something wild could happen, some costume or some big thing, and it's all because they made a conscious decision.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
completely orchestrated.
yeah. And the same thing goes for like punk rock bands. You know, they make a conscious decision to be like, anything goes.
Yeah.
You know, it's
But at the same time, like what your audience or whatever room you're in is going to have an impact on how you're feeling, or what the energy is like in the room. So regardless of all these things that are pre-orchestrated, it's going to be a unique experience. So I think, to answer your question in a really long-winded way, there's so many of, everything is sort of both. And everything and nothing all at once.
just looking for a place to stop and eat in the side row is chaos. This band can be chaotic enough. So, yeah.
Or even more simply, yes, but no.